finger spray. All right.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, 21 Hunting and Fishing. Today, we're just doing another simple surf session after work. That's what's cool about surf fishing, is it scratches that itches that scratch, however you want to say it. You know, on those days where logistically you're not going to be able to get out on a boat, right? You can still go fishing and see what you can catch and learn something and get out there and just get some vitamin C or D, whichever one that you get from the sun. I don't know. Doesn't matter. So I'm going to continue to try to do some tackle testing, going to Moonlight Beach again, because it's just like the closest and sandiest beach I have to me. There's another beach that's closer, but I typically don't surf fish it anymore because it's just too many river rocks, and that doesn't really attract the fish, because all the bait that the surf fish eat lives in the sand. You get sand crabs, you get sand worms, things of that nature. So when you have like a really rocky beach with that river rock, it typically doesn't hold fish because that's not where their bait is. And so we'll see what happens. It's just one of those days. We'll throw a line and maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe we'll just catch a bunch of dink surf perch, but you don't know unless you go. And so I might, instead of going north from the main Moonlight Beach, I might go south, just because I haven't tried that in a while. Just out of habit and where I park, I always just like gravitate north, but we'll see. I'm probably gonna go south and see you on the beach. So here's another reason why I like my deckhand sports bag. Well, surf fishing, you can just put your pole on those bungees. It just helps keep it out of the sand. Let's go see if we can find some sand crabs. Alright, so while I'm here digging some sand crabs, I'll talk about sand crabs for a moment. So the perfect size for a sand crab is something around a dime to a quarter size is really good. They're super easy to find. Now here I am kind of struggling a little bit, and I didn't quite find the right bed here, but that's okay. They're super easy to find, and when you find a sand crab bed, you want to stand behind it and cast over it, because that is what is bringing the surf fish so close to shore, especially on this session where there's like seaweed in the water. You don't need to cast really far out. If the further out you cast, the more chance that the seaweed is just going to collect onto the, in this case, a Carolina rig, which is kind of bad for seaweed because seaweed will collect around the sinker and the bead and the swivel, and then if it doesn't get caught on that, it gets caught on your bait and your hook. And so the sand crabs are what bringing the fish really close to shore. I'll have to do a better video or illustrate this somehow, but essentially what you want to do is you want to get your hook so it goes, so the sharp part of the hook goes up through the digger, and that's where the eggs are gonna be, and that's where, look at that nice sand crab bed. I always point, I'm like, see all those sand crabs right there, to the people at the beach, and they're like, they always say yes, but I don't think they really know what I'm talking about. So this is a good example of me standing behind the sand crab bed and casting over it, because basically those V's you see in the sand in front of me, as the wave goes out, those are their antennas sticking out of the water. And they will just dig deeper into the sand if you're standing right over them. So anyways, you want that hook to be on that digger end. I got bit many times, and a better fisherman would have caught a lot more fish than I did on this session. But when they bite the sand crab, they basically, what they do is they kind of inhale it and they crush it in the back of its throat and then spit it out. And when you get like these half bites, so to speak, 9 times out of 10, if you get bit but you don't hook it, when you bring it back, all the eggs are gone. They love the eggs. And so that brings me to my next point. You want to find the sand crabs with the eggs, and because this is California, there's a law for everything. I'm pretty sure you're only allowed to have 50. Check your local listings before you go out and start collecting a whole bunch of sand crabs. But you want to find those sand crabs with the eggs, and also they will molt and they will become softer. And that like soft sand crab with eggs, that's like little, like not bigger than a quarter size, is perfect, because they just love that. It's like almost a guaranteed bite. I'm not gonna say you're gonna guaranteed catch the fish, because surf fishing can be really finesse, right? Like it's not like they have really small mouths, so you really need to. Oh look, I caught a fish. Okay, so this is a fish on the gulp sandworm. They love those. Listen, you can catch dink surf perch all day long with those 2-inch camo.
Little stinking surf perch on these camo sandworms.
See, yeah, you can hear me talking about it.
I was doing the fan casting, as Bill Varney says to do.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. You got both Jasons, the one in the video and the one on this microphone here, giving you just words of wisdom. So, fan casting, what I was talking about, cast, to 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, out, and you find those fish that way. But back to sand crabs. Everything eats sand crab. It's why the fish are so close to shore, and it's why that wave action really brings them in, because if you look closely, sometimes when that wave comes in, you'll see the sand crabs kind of move along the top of the sand and then dig back down really quickly, and that's how they move around. And that's why trying to get through the seaweed to catch fish. That's why.
That's one thing I don't like about the Carolina rig, is it has so many things that the seaweed can get hooked up onto.
See? Yeah, I just told you that. And so I need to rehook. Yeah, I need to redo that. How to hook the gulp sandworm is another seminar I'll give you. Maybe you can just watch me do it here. But I want to talk more about sand crabs. Again, don't scare those sand crabs down into the sand. Don't stand on the bed and don't stand in front of it, because see how that wave comes up just like that, and now the wave is going back out. That's when the wave is doing that. That's how the sand crabs move around. That's why the fish come so close to shore. All the fish I caught on this session were, super close. And you don't have to cast far. I didn't catch any monsters.
No, this is just a gulp.
Oh yeah, gulp rubber one?
Yeah, but you can see the sand crabs. I always just stand behind the bed and cast over. I just caught a perch. I don't know if you saw that, but he's kind of small. These things just, you can catch small surf perch on these all day.
Okay.
I've caught bigger stuff on it too, but the seaweed's kind of like, right now. It's every time I reel back in, there's some seaweed, but we'll see.
This is the time of night though, huh?
Yeah, I think so. Thanks.
Yeah, so you see the guy asking. So I like these conditions as far as the time and the tide, because the high tide coincides with the sunset, and I think the fish want to eat a lot before the sun goes down and they go to sleep. And also, as this tide is coming in, the waves are coming further and further up onto the beach, washing that bait that they like up and around in the surf. And so, surf fishing is really cheap. You can be out there surf fishing with decent gear for, I would say around $100. And the cool thing is, the sand crabs, the best bait is right there on the beach. Now much later in the summer, the fish will generally kind of lose their taste for the sand crabs. But this time of year in the spring, when the sand crabs are coming to the surface, the water temperature is about 60 degrees or so, and that's how the sand crabs know when it's time to come to the surface. And you're always going to find the sand crabs around places that have like softer sand. Where do you find softer sand? You find softer sand around places where the water washes around. So for example, at this beach where there's that pipe that goes out and it's just constantly draining, like runoff from, the streets, I guess, you'll find sand crabs there because that sand is constantly being churned up and it makes it soft. You'll find sand crabs around pier pilings. You'll find sand crabs around inlets where water's constantly flowing in and out. Anywhere where you find that soft sand, you're going to find the sand crabs. And yeah, they're absolutely everywhere. I mean, you can see them in this photo. And I also have to apologize. I didn't realize that I had water on my lens this entire time. I need to get better at this. I'm sorry. I know I make it look super easy and I'm an expert already, but I do screw some things up every once in a while. And yeah, sand crabs, they're proof that God wants us to surf fish. That's the best thing. The little sand crab tool, I call it, that I have, I think it was like a $3.99 at the grocery store. It's just a really small plastic strainer. I kind of want to get a little bit sturdier one just because it kind of deforms. It's not very strong when you're digging through the sand to get down deeper. But at the same time, the thing has served me super well over like 3 seasons now. And it's by far the cheapest and best fishing tool that I could ever ask for the surf fishing session. So yeah, look at that, more seaweed. Not fun. I got to go switch spots. Yeah, so this is when I was on like the south side of the main beach, and I decided to go more north. Now, did that alleviate all my seaweed issues? No. But I'm kind of remembering now why I don't fish the south part. And then I was finding some spots where seaweed was just like really congregating, and man, I wanted to cast there so bad because I think it was just kind of like a little bit deeper holes, and something about the current was just collecting the seaweed there. And I feel like there were some fish underneath there, but I couldn't cast into it, so I'm still messing with my gulp sandworm. I could do a little bit better job than that. See how the hook is? Yeah, I'm like, F it, whatever. Remember, fishermen are lazy, and I'm a fisherman. All right, so here's the money shot. Those are some really good sized sand crabs. Honestly, a little bit too big. Now you just saw a little. Watch them go. He goes straight into the sand. These things are so cool. You saw the orange on that one. Those are the eggs. Almost guaranteed to get bit. I mean, about the closest thing I can guarantee you is at least a bite on a soft sand crab with eggs. I can almost guarantee that, but I can't because there's no guarantees in surf fishing. They just love them so much. So here I'm struggling a little bit. And I was finding like that size one, like those big ones with, like I was finding some that they're too big and then too small. And then I had to up the hook size, so I used a size number 2 owner mosquito hook. This is my deckhand sports bag, keeping my reel up and out of the sand. I love that bag so much. And maybe I'll talk a little bit more about the gear that I bring. I always bring like way too much stuff, and you notice I don't even have that much stuff. I just instead of like taking stuff out of my bag every time and putting in every time, I just kind of keep a stock and just pick out of it what I need. And so here we go, casting over. Is that sand crab bed? It's kind of hard to tell with the water on the lens. But yeah, sand crabs, super cool. You have to absolutely have to learn how to fish with sand crabs on the Carolina rig if you're gonna surf fish. Now, I was using a 3/4 ounce weight. You need to have a weight that, yeah, look at all the sand crabs. You need to have a weight that gets your, you want to feel that sinker of your Carolina rig bouncing along the bottom, because remember, all the surf fish that I just was just saying, right? All the surf fish love to eat the sand crabs, but the sand crabs aren't up in the water column, they're on the bottom. And so that's where your sand crab needs to be. And that's why you need to make sure you have the right size egg sinker on your Carolina rig.
Yeah. Oh, there's definitely fish. What's that? Yeah. I already caught one. If I catch one, I'm going to hand it to you and you're going to reel it in, okay? No, they don't bite. Oh yeah, yeah. You ever seen sand crabs before? You want to see a sand crab? Yeah. See those? They live in the sand. See those V's over there? Yeah. That's where they live, and you can dig them up and use it as bait.
Like in the hole?
Yeah. Isn't that cool? I'm gonna show you. Come here.
I'm trying to dig with this.
Okay, I gotta use this. Watch. Do you see those little divots in the sand? That's sand crabs. This is just a strainer from the grocery store. I'll show you. Come here.
No, I'm scared to hold it.
It's not gonna hurt you.
No, I get scared.
See?
Yo, they're pretty cool.
See how there's different sizes?
Yeah.
And
Do
you
eat
just,
them?
I don't eat them.
Yeah.
Do you see that orange right there?
Yeah.
That's their eggs. That's
Their
how
eggs?
yeah, that's how they make more.
What? How many eggs do they make?
Oh, they got a whole bunch. Do you want to touch one?
It's no.
It's not gonna hurt you.
I'm sure. No, you.
There.
No, I'm scared. Wait, if I know it's not gonna hurt me, but like, it feels weird doing it with yeah. Thank you though.
You're welcome. Okay, so that's 2 sand crabs that came back bit in half. So they definitely are eating the sand crabs right now. So we're going to continue to try to see what we can get on the sand crab. I shortened the leader. That seems to be the ticket. So let's see. I'm also letting the hook come out more towards the rear of the sand crab. So the sand crab has that little digger. That digger has a pointy end and a fatter end where it's attached to the body. I put the hook through the part where it attaches to the body. Not the pointy end. Alright, we need to find some more. We need to find another sand crab bed. First fish of the year on a sand crab. And this guy is coming home meat.
Good tiger stripes on it.
All right.